I really don't want to review this one, but this is the last one before my favorite. So, let's get on with the show, I guess. Thor The Dark World. I got a sneeze coming on. So, Thor The Dark World is the most boring, mediocre sequel to a superhero movie I've ever seen in my entire life. What happens in this movie? Right, okay, so apparently thousands of years ago there was this race called the Dark Elves and they wanted the ether. Sure, that's a thing. Turns out it's the Reality Stone. Spoiler alert, I'm going to spoil this movie for you because it's 6 years old, but hey. Anyway, so Bor, Thor's grandfather, is like, we're going to take... Wait, hold on. We're going to take this and bury it, and bury it deep. I don't know how to do his voice. He's just, bury it. And I'm just like, okay, they're going to bury it. Then they were this guy named Malekith really wanted it so that he could plunge the 9 realms into darkness, which I guess with the Reality Stone you could do. Fast forward to nowadays, it is the convergence. What's the convergence? The realms have aligned, which it happens every so often, I guess. But because they're aligning, reality's gonna get all wacky and phase shifty. So since reality is getting weird, and we have the Reality Stone, why are they in the same movie? But this is the movie where we actually introduced to the concept of the Infinity Stones, because Odin is like, the Infinity Stones are a thing that they do because they're Infinity Stones. And then it's just like, oh hey, I remember that Thanos Easter egg. And then Jane is phasing through the shifts, and then she touches the ether and it gets in her, and she's like, ooh, it's in me. And Thor's like, it's in her, what do we do? And then it's just like, well, it's in her, what do we do? And then it's just like Loki, he's like, I'm sad because I'm in prison. And then the Dark Elves. Yeah, Loki's in prison now because of his actions in the Avengers. So he's in jail for the rest of his life, except for when this movie takes place. But then the Dark Elves show up, and then it's like, we want the ether, and they're like, protect Jane, and so they fight a bunch of elves, and then Loki is broken out of prison because Loki knows how to get off world without anybody knowing, and they need that for their plan because they're gonna go face Malekith and destroy the ether. How much you want to bet that works? No, Loki dies. And it's just like, what do we do? And so they go back to Earth because, of course, they do. And then it's just like, hello, Malekith. The realms have shifted and you now have the ether in your body. You have the Reality Stone in you. What do you do with it? You turn gray. He just turns gray. That's all he does. Just turns. I'm not kidding. He turns. Anyway, so they fight through the dimensions, and Thor keeps losing Mjolnir, and he keeps trying to return to Asgard because it doesn't have a user anymore because he doesn't exist in the realms, and it's just like blah 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 blah. And then the convergence comes into effect, and they've got these like spikes that teleport, and they use them to stab Malekith, and then they send him to Svartalfheim, where he's from, and then a ship lands on him. And then they somehow retrieved the Reality Stone from him and gave it to the Collector at the end of the movie in the post-credit scene. And he's like, 1 down, 5 to go. And it's just like, is he working for Thanos? Or is he just trying to collect them for himself? Like, anybody could be working for Thanos. You have no clue. The movie doesn't even try to explain. It's just, all right, cool. Moving on. But you also find out that Loki's not really dead. Loki is pretending to be Odin while Odin is somewhere, and Thor goes back to Earth to protect it and be with Jane. If I wasn't clear enough, I don't like this movie. I don't like the tone, the pacing, the direction, the color wash that this movie goes through. I don't like the awkward humor. I don't like the stiff, stale performances from the human characters I don't care about. Selvig, Darcy, Jane Foster, and some intern. I don't care who those people are. I don't care that Darcy and the intern kiss by the end of the movie. Just give me more Thor versus elves. Why can't we get... And then Loki is like, oh, you're not my real parents. You just took me from when I lived on Jotunheim. And then Thor's mom dies when the elves attack. And Loki's like, mother. It's just like, ugh. I don't like how stupid this movie is. I don't like the ridiculous scale. Like, shouldn't Thor get help from somebody when he's dealing with something on this scale? I know he's Thor and he's super powerful and he's a god or whatever, but at a certain point, you're in over your head, right? You got lucky that it was the convergence. What if this had been happening in the middle of June? What would you have done? You would have died. Probably, I assume. He has the Reality Stone. That's another thing. Why is the Reality Stone in this liquidy form? It's like they realized, hey, Infinity War comes out in a couple of years. We have to start introducing the Infinity Stones, because if we don't, then it's going to be confusing when we get to Infinity War. So let's just... Here's a couple. Here you go. Merry Christmas. Infinity Stone. That's for you now. And in case it was any surprise to you, I think this movie belongs in the trash. It's not watchable. It's not enjoyable. It is difficult on the heart and the brain. And the thing is, because it's a Marvel movie, you'll never forget. You think I've seen this movie recently? No. No. I've only seen this since 2014. I just remember everything that happens in it. Like Thor snaps the dwarf's or a prisoner's neck with his one hand. He's like, and he's just dead. Loki turns into Captain America for 5 seconds.